Hi there. Welcome to today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. On our show today, we'll be looking at efforts to reduce Jamaica's vulnerability to natural disasters. Later, getting safe drinking water. Plus, using geographic information for development. Sit back and relax for these and more as we turn the pages of Jamaica Magazine.
Protect Jamaica, plant your grass. Help us become more resilient to climate change impacts. Protect Jamaica, plant a tree. It improves the island's national biodiversity. Trees may be fruit, ornamental, or timber, but must be native or suitable to the area's natural landscape. Join the Jamaica Million Tree Campaign and help to plant 1 million trees by June 30, 2019. This is a call to action by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Over the years, Jamaica has suffered damaging effects due to natural disasters. To reduce the impact of these costly and cyclical events, the government is enhancing the country's resilience. It's using hazard and risk information to shape sustainable development and build infrastructure that are more resistant to disaster and climate risks. More on that work in this feature.
Disasters are expensive, costing life and property and a great deal of money for cleanup and repairs. For Jamaica, our small size, location and topography means that the country is especially vulnerable to earthquakes, hurricanes and floods. While it's difficult to prevent these devastating events, there are things that can be done to reduce the damage. The Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project DVRP, funded by the World Bank and implemented by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, aims to strengthen the country's ability to withstand and recover from natural disasters.
It's a project that's going to be focused on physical infrastructure investments, equipping and institutional strengthening of the relevant government agencies that are normally tasked to do this work. I'm talking about OPM, I'm talking about the Ministry of Local Government, through the Fire Brigade, through NEPA, through the National Works Agency, the Earthquake Unit at the University of the West Indies. These are normally the agencies that have to respond when natural disaster strikes.
Fire services are most critical in protecting life and property from not only fires but also other natural disasters. Under the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project DVRP, over 140,000 persons within the parishes of St. Mary, St. James and St. Thomas will benefit from 3 new fire stations that will be constructed and provided with rescue equipment to include protective gears and extrication tools.
Well, I'll feel a little more secure going away, know that I have fire service right next to me and they would be better able to respond to the event of a fire.
This new fire station means a lot to us in that it will give us peace of mind, knowing that we are in a more secure building so that we can serve our community members better.
Even though Jamaica has not experienced a major earthquake since 1907, every year the country experiences over 200 minor tremors, and the threat of major devastation is always looming. When it comes to preparing for an earthquake, data collection is important as this helps in understanding the risk associated with this event and will inform policy towards strengthening the country's resilience. Through the DVRP, assistance will be given to the University of the West Indies Mona Campus Earthquake Unit, which is responsible for monitoring the country's seismic activities. All their seismic stations will be upgraded.
There's a number of different pieces of equipment we can receive. The first one is a series of seismometers, and these are digital seismometers. And these are to basically fit out the remaining stations with digital seismometers. So we're going to end up with those 10 stations completely upgraded, and then add an additional station to it, so an 11th station there. So we're moving from what we call analog to digital. Additionally, we have a series of accelerometers. And the accelerometers do a different thing. The seismometers are there to record the earthquakes and they don't get triggered early on. The accelerometers are really there to tell us how the buildings shake. what is the severity of the shaking that goes on. And the importance of that is that a building will survive up to a certain amount of shaking, and then it will collapse, and then it will kill people. We obviously want to understand across Jamaica how the acceleration changes, how when you get an earthquake, the building shaking changes across the island.
In an effort to address Jamaica's limited human capacity in the field of seismology, the project will fund a junior research fellow who will read for a PhD degree in seismology over a 3-year period and upon completion will be employed as a seismologist in the unit. Floods have large social and economic consequences for communities and individuals. When there's a heavy downpour, which is not unusual for the island, the lives of residents in many communities are disrupted. The project will see major infrastructure work done in Old Harbour and along Port Royal Street to limit the effects of rising and rough waters.
The improvement works in Old Harbour will include the expansion and the improvement of the urban drainage and also bridges. Myton Gully, Church Pen, those areas in Old Harbour, and Big Pond.
Big Pond, whenever time it comes, I mean, no car can pass, flood out my house, wash our clothes, anything, you understand? So we'll be grateful for JSIF and everybody to come coming on board to fix it.
When the pan come over, it's hamper even to school children them. It is so dangerous that it take life already. When JSF and NWA are coming, come do this for me. Oh my God, just like that. We'd be so glad and happy.
Along Port Royal Street in Kingston, 2 kilometers of coastal revetments will be constructed and retrofitted. This will benefit the patrons and owners of the various business establishments located around this area, as well as users of the Norman Manley International Airport. And there's more.
There is also a very important, critical element of the DVRP, which is funding to support training on the building code. Jamaica is moving towards enacting a new code, and so it will be important that persons involved in the construction industry, the players in government, or professionals, engineers, architects, etc., are fully exposed and trained on this new building code, and the project will support that.
The total cost for the overall project is $42 million and is expected to be completed by 2022. The best time to prepare for a natural disaster is before it happens. Collecting information on disaster and risk reduction, constructing disaster-resilient buildings and structures will go a far way in limiting the cost of these natural hazards within Jamaica.
Householders, business people, school administrators, be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET.
Jamaica has been recognized for being the country in the region with the best quality drinking water. Our potable water comes from underground aquifers and surface sources such as rivers and streams, which undergo extensive treatment processes.
The human body cannot function without water. While you may live for up to 3 weeks without food, you cannot go more than a week without water. From breaking down the food we eat so the body can use it, to helping us heal when we get sick, water is needed for almost every process that takes place in the body. And although 70% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, drinking it directly from seas, rivers, wells or aqueducts may make you sick. Untreated water contains bacteria and other germs, as well as chemicals that may be dangerous to the body. So in order to get the water from here to here safely, it has to be treated. Water treatment processes differ depending on the source. If the water is coming from a river, for example, here at the Negro River in St. Thomas, it usually goes through an extensive treatment process before reaching the pipe.
Here is where we do the first type of treatment in the form of sedimentation and screening. Behind me you can see where we screen the bigger stuff like the sticks, the stones and debris. Then we come down to the sediment where we separate the sand from the stones. And then this water will leave from St. Thomas and pipe into Kingston via pipeline into the Mona Reservoir.
The Mona Reservoir is the island's largest raw water storage facility and provides the liquid to over 30% of people living in Kingston and St. Andrew. If this is where you get your water, here is where the next step in the treatment process occurs.
Here in the reservoir, we allow for maximum levels of mixing, maximum levels of aeration, as can be done here at the facility. We also, at the reservoir, you allow for settling out of the silt and the suspended particles, dirt particles, that would otherwise be in the raw water. We then take the water from the reservoir and take it to the Mona treatment plant.
At the treatment plant, chemicals are added to further purify the water. Chlorine is first added to kill bacteria.
You have stages that include flocculation, where we actually add chemicals to the water that allow those microscopic dirt particles that are still in the water to be brought together in what we call flocks, and then we are able to skim it off and remove it from the water.
The water is then passed through filters which contain layers of sand, gravel, charcoal or synthetic materials that remove remaining small particles. The final stage is disinfection. Here, chlorine is added to kill any other bacteria or germ.
Ensuring that we have what we refer to as chlorine residual that goes with the water, so that as the water travels along the pipeline to our customers, should it come in contact with any germs along the way, there is enough chlorine residual in that water to destroy those germs and still be delivered to the customer in good quality.
The water is tested all throughout the treatment process to ensure that what you get in your pipe meets World Health Organization standards.
For several years running, the National Water Commission has won the best tasting water in the Caribbean. We have also been acknowledged by the various arms of the United Nations at different points in time as having one of the best quality water in the hemisphere.
That is definitely something we can drink to.
Developmental planning must precede construction. Risk analysis must inform all our actions. Codes must be adhered to. Construction must be sound. And of course,
Where construction is done outside of the codes, statutes and regulations, then enforcement must come into play.
Geospatial Information System GIS plays an important role in improving the ease at which we function as individuals and a country. And over the years, an increasing number of government entities and private companies have been using GIS to support their core operations. Learn more in the upcoming feature. It's all around us. It influences how we work, learn, live, play, and plan for the future. GIS is the short form of Geographic Information System. It's a computer-based system built to capture, store, manipulate, analyze, manage, and display all kinds of spatial or geographical data.
In geography class in high school, persons were taught that in geography, we're able to locate where features are using coordinates. That's the basis of GIS. Knowing where these features are on the Earth's surface and being able to represent that within a computer-based environment where that is seen visually.
So it's a support tool that we use to provide additional extension to any business process.
And with this GIS technology, the government has been mapping Jamaica's course on the information highway. Leading that charge is the Land Information Council of Jamaica, LICJ, a mandate held since 1992.
Jamaica is considered the leading country within the English-speaking Caribbean with regards to GIS. We're able to provide direction, policy development.
In addition to coordinating the implementation of a national land information policy strategy, the LICJ has also been instrumental in developing a national GIS network. And with the foundation set, the Council is now focused on establishing and implementing a National Spatial Data Infrastructure, NSDI. Through that infrastructure, government will be able to capture, manage, maintain, integrate, discover, and distribute spatial data at all levels of society. The LICJ's mandate is executed through its secretariat, the National Spatial Data Management Division, NSDMD.
We provide a lot of technical support to all of these various government agencies that actively use GIS to carry out their mandate. We train these persons. Apart from that, we facilitate conducting GIS needs assessments.
Government is currently the largest user of geospatial and related technologies, and that usage runs throughout government. It's seen in the water sector, transport, disaster management, environment management, national security, education, health, and agriculture. But no other area has seen the proliferation of GIS technology than that of land use and development. At the Urban Development Corporation, GIS is used to streamline operations in various departments, including estate management, business development, architecture, and corporate security.
We're on the road now to our 50th anniversary, and we see GIS as being that enabling tool to provide UDC now with not just the way to make better decisions in development, but also improving UDC's image as a modern entity.
The same is true for the National Land Agency's land titling, land valuation, surveys and mapping, and estate management divisions.
A lot of the business processes that exist within the different divisions have GIS tied into it. So for example, there is no way that somebody can, at present, acquire a new certificate of title without some work happening on the GIS end.
The National Works Agency also uses GIS in project planning, land acquisition, and location analysis.
Everything that we do has a spatial component to it, and it's hard to deny that GIS is going to play a role in all of that.
Cost savings, greater efficiency, faster decision-making, improved communication, and better record-keeping are all derived from the use of GIS. And the private sector also has been getting in on the technology. Increasing GIS nationwide is also a focus for the LICJ and the NSDMD. To facilitate this, the government has signed an enterprise license agreement with the Environmental Research Institute. That agreement has been a game changer.
it has allowed us to be more efficient, you know, in terms of accessing the data and using it to provide more information and to engage also with the public as well.
What it does is open up a whole new world. So there are almost no limits to what we can do with GIS and improving the way we handle our spatial data as a government.
Public awareness has also been heightened with the GIS Day during Geography Awareness in November. That observation has been staged annually since 2003. In 2017, with the LICJ celebrating 25 years groundbreaking work, there will be a two-day GIS user conference in October. The conference will focus on national security for sustainable development under the theme Geospatial Technologies, Mapping Our Way to Secure Communities. As we strive to learn more about each other and the world around us, there is no doubt that GIS is the most practical and beneficial tool in this process. As Jack Dangamond, co-founder of the Environmental Systems Research Institute, said, GIS is waking up the world to the power of geography, the science of integration, and has the framework for creating a better future. We invite you to learn more about the GIS User Conference by visiting the webpage at gisuserconferenceja.com.
Each time you're not paying full attention to the road environment, the greater your chances of getting in a crash like that. Plan routes to avoid focusing on GPS systems, prevent children from roaming in motor vehicles, turn down the volume of car stereo systems, pull off the roadway if you have to use mobile devices, do not read, watch television or eat while driving, avoid multitasking, and keep conversations with other passengers to a minimum. Whether you walk, ride or drive, avoid potentially fatal distractions.
And now for some of the stories in our news this week.
Hi there, I'm Vaughn Davis with your JIS news for the week. Approximately $4.8 billion will be spent to improve the island's road network. This as some 51 road rehabilitation projects are scheduled to commence this year across 7 parishes by the NWA under the second phase of the local component of the Major Infrastructure Development Program, MIDP. Works will include construction of retaining walls, the laying of new base and paving with asphaltic concrete, and construction of sidewalks and road markings.
Some items in the program of work include gabion wall construction, rubble masonry wall construction, as well as we'll be laying down, installing concrete sidewalks and putting in curbs and channel, as well as stormwater drainage.
Among the projects to be undertaken is the widening of 6 kilometers of roadway in some areas along the Nago Head Main Road in Portmore, St. Catherine to accommodate 4 lanes. $10 million have been approved as emergency allocation to carry out restorative works in parishes affected by heavy rains. Portland, St. Anne, St. Mary and Trelawney have been experiencing flooding and landslides. Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie has given directives for the immediate discharge of the funds. The local government minister said $3 million will be allocated to the municipal corporation of the 2 worst affected parishes, while $2 million will go to the local authorities of the other 2 parishes seriously affected by the heavy rains. In a release, Minister McKenzie said the money will be used to clear roads that are blocked by landslides and other debris. The funds will also be used to implement emergency roadworks where necessary. Meanwhile, delivery of relief supplies of food and other necessary items were airlifted to residents marooned in flood-ravaged communities of Bourbon and Maidstone in Portland. For nearly a week, the communities have been cut off from vehicular access as heavy rain saturated and flooded several areas, forcing residents to traverse the communities with makeshift rafts. Continuous light to moderate showers impeded work to fully restore communities to normality. However, the local government ministry, the National Works Agency and first responders have managed to clear road blockages in the parish, rendering access to at least single-lane traffic in some communities. Also this week, announcement came that 5 communities across the country are to receive micro-zonation maps, providing detailed information on earthquake hazards and to assist in the design plans for building. Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, Major Clive Davis, says this project will be carried out over a 2-year period. Other communities across the country have already benefited from the project.
The OPM has continued over a number of years to take steps to mitigate against, to prepare the nation for the possible impacts of major earthquakes.
Major Davis was addressing Monday's press launch of Earthquake Awareness Week 2018. Also in the news this week, the Ministry of National Security has allocated $92.8 million towards the purchase of equipment aimed at securing the nation's borders. Among the acquisition are 6 helicopters and 4 airplanes for the Jamaica Defense Force. The aircraft, worth approximately $49 million, will be used for passenger, troop and medical evacuation, heavy cargo and troop transfer, as well as training. As part of the Ministry of National Security's 5-pillar crime reduction strategy, Minister Robert Montego says the equipment will prevent the entry of illegal guns and ammunition, as well as uncustomed goods. Last year, the security forces seized over 850 illegal guns and nearly 22,000 rounds of ammunition. And still on security during this week, a domestic violence counseling center was opened at the Police Area 5 headquarters at the Constant Spring Police Station. The center will serve police divisions in areas 4 and 5, including Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine and St. Thomas. It was established through a partnership between the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica and the police force. Deputy Commissioner of Police Novlet Grant says the center forms part of the force's holistic approach to tackling violence. Also in our news this week, Jamaica's vector management program has been enhanced with the opening of the Mosquito Control Research Unit's insectary at the University of the West Indies Mona campus. The insectary complements last year's opening of the Mosquito Control Research Unit. At Tuesday's function, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said the insectary demonstrates government's commitment to mosquito control.
The insectary has been equipped with new microscopes, supplies and equipment to advance scientific and operational research. This facility will serve as the National Mosquito Control and Research Lab in Jamaica and will also complement the Ministry of Health insectary.
The facility was established through a partnership involving the Ministry of Health, the University of the West Indies Mona, and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Vaughn Davis.
The funeral for Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Information Service, Ian Boyne, will be held on Sunday, January 14. The service will be between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. at the National Indoor Sports Center in Kingston. Persons may view the body prior to the start of the service from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. His body will be interred at the Dovecote Memorial Park in St. Catherine. Members of the public are invited to join in the celebration of the life of the veteran journalist. And for those who can't be in attendance, the service will be streamed live on the JIS Facebook page and broadcast live on JNN.
And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow and we'll do this all over again. Until then, you can click online at jis.gov.jm and visit our YouTube channel to get the latest government information. Also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and download our app from the Google Play Store to stay informed. On behalf of the entire GIS team, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to keep pursuing your dreams throughout the year. Till next time, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.